2 minutes.
Right, let me confirm. Gemma.
Yeah, we are. With the deposit amount, it's just you yeah.
So that's all that needs to be put on tonight.
That's fine, yeah. Cool. I got my email the other day. Got my email the other day.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
Welcome, one and all. My name's Tim Russell. Lovely to meet you all. Can you all hear me okay?
Yep.
Wonderful. Just put your hand up if you can hear me. That's exactly how it is to be a little later on. So you have a bit of practice now, which is wonderful. Folks, I'm going to be leading you through the first half of tonight's proceedings, and I hope you've all got your Vidas arms ready. I'm going to be joined a little later on by my good friend and colleague, Mr. Nick Salter Harding, over here to my left. You can see he's a little height challenged, so you should be able to see him pretty easily when he comes onto the stage a little later on. For those that haven't been to one of these events previously, whether that's in rooms or on site, just a little housekeeping for you. The way that we do things is we will read you the standard terms and conditions for the sale of residential property by auction, as they are here in the ACT. We're going to read those once, and that will apply for all of the auctions that happen this evening. You must be registered, of course, to participate in the auction tonight, which you'll certainly hear about a little bit later on. And there is one New South Wales auction, so we will read terms and conditions for that at the time that that auction is called. But just before we get underway and take care of those formalities, you may or may not be aware that we are the only corporate sponsor for cystic fibrosis research in Australia. This is a genetic disease that affects the lungs and digestive system of children, and being the only corporate sponsor, we have raised, I think in the last about 15 years, we've been that corporate sponsor. We've raised about $5 million over the course of that time, which has been just fantastic. And the life expectancy of those suffering from cystic fibrosis has increased from about 20 years to about 40 years. Now, that of course isn't long enough. 40 is still very young, and we still like to support that charity, and we also support the Humpty Dumpty Foundation. So we're going to hold a little charity auction here tonight, and all the money goes to those charities. And for that charity auction, we have a couple of bottles of wine. Now, you don't need to be registered to bid on the wine, but there is a white and there is a red, and they value up at about $20 or $30 a bottle each, I think. And they come in the classic auctioneer joke of this priceless LJ Hooker wine cooler bag, which is wonderful, isn't it? Some auctioneers say they have to sell their home to get this bag, but we don't even give it away to people who sell their home. So that's how rare these are, which is just wonderful. So I'm going to pop that over there, but there they are. I don't know what the wines are, and I don't even know whether they're cold. Local wines.
Red and local white.
Thank you, Kayleen. So, folks, just to get us away and get the juices flowing for the bidding, people like to give us $20 towards that. Thank you very much, sir. $20. There's 30 in the room anyway. At 20 the bid, 30 at the back, and 40, she says, well done. At 40 and 50 if you like. 50, thank you, sir. Look, that's all the Asians, they're all alcoholics. It's a very stressful job.
It's very nice wine.
I know.
In the bag.
It's, I bid for it myself, Troy, against you, but I'm the auctioneer, so I might, I don't want to put you out. So $50 here. 60, thank you very much. Well done. At 60 at the back of the room. Welcome to the bidding. First civilian in. Well done. We're so glad you came. We were worried sick about you. At $60 the bid. Looking for a rise from there. Any further bid or rise? 70. Thank you so much. At $70. And against you at the back. Troy, I haven't forgotten about you. I know it's been a rough week. You might need a drink. At $70 the bid. I'll call it in your favour. Any further bid? I think the record's about $215, Kayleen.
Like
Who holds that record?
It might be
Oh,
you.
you do. I'd love to beat that record one day. At $70 the bid. First, second, third. Sold. Thank you very much. And that is 100% tax deductible. We'll bring you a receipt and the wine, and best of luck tonight. That's obviously good luck for you, I'm sure. So, folks, into the auctions themselves, the standard conditions for the conduct of public auctions of residential property in the ACT are as follows. The auctioneer may make one bid for the seller of the property at any time during the auction. Each person bidding must be entered on the bidder's record. The auctioneer may refuse any bid. The auctioneer may decide the amount by which the bidding is to be advanced. The auctioneer may withdraw the property from sale at any time. The auctioneer may refer a bid to the seller at any time before the end of the auction. And if there is a dispute about a bid, the auctioneer may resubmit the property for sale at the last undisputed bid or start the bidding again. And if there is a dispute about a bid, the auctioneer's decision is final. The sale is subject to reserve price unless announced otherwise. The highest recorded bidder will be the buyer, subject to a reserve price, of course. And if a reserve price has been set for the property and the property is passed in below that reserve price, then the seller must first negotiate with the highest bidder for the purchase of the property. Very important position to find yourself in should bidding look like it's stalling on the one that you want to buy. And of course, the buyer must sign the contract and pay a deposit immediately on the fall of the hammer. Any questions in relation to those terms, folks? No? Are you sure? One day someone's actually going to ask me a question at that point. It's going to be really exciting. Still no questions, right? Alrighty. Well, that takes us to our very first submission, which is fantastic. And the contract describes the property as Unit 52, Units Plan 1413, Block 25, Section 22 in the Division or District of Braddon, known as 52 of 19 to 25 Fulton Street in Braddon. And we thank the sellers for their instructions on the sale. I've travelled a long way to help out with this evening. The seller's solicitor, Emma Brown Legal, has prepared the contract. We thank them for that. The seller's agent, the incredible Kayleen King, an icon in the real estate industry across the Canberra market. Beautiful, intelligent, and a magnificent agent. Absolutely, I think it's really It's an honour to have you here. She is here all week signing autographs, don't eat the chicken. Not offered with land rent, offered with vacant possession, breach of covenant unit of articles as disclosed in these documents, which have been on display over the course of the last month or so, and here tonight for about an hour or so. Goods are fixed floor coverings, light fittings, and window treatments as inspected. Date for completion on or before 30 days of the date of the contract that's signing this evening. And of course, 10% deposit is the norm, unless you made an agreement with the seller through Kayleen or your agent representative. Kayleen, take us back to this
Thank you,
complex.
Tim. Yeah, I would love to. This is actually the third time I've had the privilege of selling this particular unit.
it is just in one of those fabulous locations that puts you an easy flat walk into the buzz of Braddon or another couple of minutes into the city, but it's a block back from all the noise. So you get to enjoy the peace and quiet, a nice easterly outlook, and the convenience of being able to walk to Braddon or the city, or a block further and jump on the train if you work in Gungahlin. The property itself is just so cute and funky and just really contemporary, even though the building is one of the older ones. They're just great units. So it's a loft style apartment. It's a one bed with the ability to be a two. So you'll see in some of the pictures there are some bifold doors that help you create that second bedroom should you want it for visitors, or if you're looking to rent it out. But the flooring's been done, the kitchen's been upgraded. It's 78 square metres, which I've said to a lot of people who have come through. If you were looking to buy brand new 78 square metres, you'd be paying high 400s, possibly even 500s in the Braddon area. So if you're prepared to buy a little bit older, you definitely get size, and that's what's on offer here, as well as just a really cool design and great flexibility. Would also rent really well in that area for you as well. So I didn't realise we were on our second roll through the photos. I've talked too long. But look, it's a great property, loads and loads of storage, great neighbours, a terrific body corporate, very active, and yeah, thank you so much to my sellers, and yeah, Tim?
Thank you, Kayleen. They are fantastic. There's no two ways about them. They represent magnificent value. And speaking of which, one thing I know, which of course you don't, folks, is the reserve on this. And I can tell you right now, the owner is more than realistic and here to sell tonight. And so there's a great opportunity at foot. Is that right? At hand? Yes, something.
Foot or hand?
I'm not sure. Where's Shakespeare when you need him? So, of course, ladies and gentlemen, it's over to you. It's a very simple process. All you need to do is put your nose to your toes, your hands in the air. If the bid's high enough, it'll buy the property, but certainly and put you in good stead, and the lucky bid is always the first one. Who would like to kick things off?
It's very quiet here.
Yes, quiet location, as they say, Kayleen. It is such a wonderful spot, folks. Of course, it is a participation sport, and you know, so I do need your assistance. I promise if you throw a bit at me, I will not throw the gavel at you. That's not how it works. We're a people-friendly auction centre. Where do we go? Well, no one's leaving, Kayleen, so they must all be interested. They want to stay and buy. Of course, if there is no opening bid or offer, I will hand it back to Kayleen for her to continue conversation. I know there has been interest outside of this forum also. Kayleen?
I'm sorry, Tim. I do have
No
some
apology necessary.
people to chat to afterwards, though.
Absolutely. So, folks, I'll give it one opportunity around the room for you to put your hand in the air if you see value there before I hand it back to Kayleen for further negotiations here this evening or into the private treaty space tomorrow. First, second and third, what do you say? Kayleen, I'm going to hand it back to you, but I am going to give you another round of applause because you are
Thank you,
You're amazing, Kayleen.
Thank you so much.
All right, I wish you the best of luck. I know you'll get that one away very quickly. It is a great property in a great location and at a very reasonable expectation from the seller. All right, folks, that takes us to our next submission, which is a beautiful home in the lovely suburb of Ford. The contract describes the property as Block 13, Section 100 in the division or district of Ford, known as 740 Street in Ford. We thank the sellers for their instructions on the sale. The seller's solicitor, WMG Legal, Chris Malphone, has prepared the contract. We thank them for that. The seller's agent, this handsome gentleman to my left, Mr. Anthony Damiano, one of the best looking real estate agents in the business. He was actually going to be a supermodel, but he rejected that job, became a real estate agent with us, which is very lucky for us. Restriction on transfer is nil. Goods are fixed floor coverage, window trimmings, light fittings as inspected. 30-day completion date, and of course a 10% deposit, anything unless otherwise agreed with. Take us back to this fabulous home.
Thanks, Tim. All that was made up too, mate. Anyway. So I can thank the sellers for entrusting me to sell their property. It's been an absolute pleasure to work for them.
What you've got here is a great home in a quality location in Ford, opposite a pond. It's 4 bedroom, 2 bathroom and 2 car. Just a beautiful part of the world. So it's currently tenanted at $750 a week, which is an exceptional return. However, the tenants are moving out, so the opportunity to move in is there for you as well. We'll be offered with vacant possession once they've moved out. So thank you, Tim. Back over to you.
Thanks, Anthony. Beautiful. And of course, this neck of the woods in Ford has been very highly regarded over the course of time and continues to be so. The Gundarlinals have a very strong affiliation with their suburb. Plenty of charity events going on in and around that location, and the homes here, of course, are beautiful. There's no two ways about it, I'm sure you'll agree. So, ladies and gentlemen, over to you. It's going to be very disappointing. Nobody bids for me tonight, isn't it? I will have, oh no, thank you so much. Aren't you lovely? I want to come and give you a cuddle.
Oh.
Yeah, come on, come here.
Hang on,
I'll give you a cuddle. You're lovely. Thank you, you're so kind. Looking after my heart. All right, where do we go, folks? An opening bidder offer. Anthony, I can't believe it. This is one of those properties that I know is going to absolutely just jump off the shelf like a well sought after pack, a 6-pack of sorbent after tonight's auction. So if I can't get an opening bidder offer, I'm going to hand it back to you. Ladies and gentlemen, round the room, first, second, third, what do you say? Anthony, thank you very much, mate. Best of luck with it, and I'm sure we will see that one sold. If you do have interest in that one, or you are here and not registered to speak to Anthony, he is here to assist.
Thanks, Tim.
Folks, our next submission is in New South Wales, and so I do need to read some separate terms in relation to this auction, so bear with me and I thank you for your patience. The vendor's reserve price must be given in writing to the auctioneer before the auction commences. A bid for the vendor cannot be made unless the auctioneer has, before the commencement of the auction, announced clearly and precisely the number of bids that may be made by or on behalf of the vendor. The highest bidder is the purchaser, subject to any reserve price, and in the event of a disputed bid, the auctioneer is the sole arbitrator and the auctioneer's decision is final. I think that's arbiter. The auctioneer may refuse to accept any bid that, in the auctioneer's opinion, is not in the best interests of the vendor, and the bidder is taken to be a principal unless, before bidding, the bidder has given to the auctioneer a copy of a written authority to bid for or on behalf of another person. A bid cannot be made or accepted after the fall of the hammer, and as soon as practicable after the fall of the hammer, the purchaser is to sign the agreement for sale. All bidders must be registered in the bidder's record. One bid only may be made by or on behalf of the vendor. This includes a bid made by the auctioneer on behalf of the vendor. And when making a bid on behalf of the vendor or accepting a bid made or on behalf of the vendor, the auctioneer must clearly state that the bid was made by or on behalf of the vendor or auctioneer. And I do like green eggs and ham. I think Dr. Zeus must have written those terms. All right. So the contract, ladies and gentlemen, describes the property as thank you. We thank the sellers for their instructions. Vendor solicitor, freehold conveyancing from Burke Street, Golden. The date of completion, 42nd day after the contract date. The land address is 43 Burke Street, Collector, New South Wales. What a beautiful part of the world, just outside of Canberra. Registered plan, Lot 2, plan DP 1172469, folio identifier 2/1177249. I hope you all wrote that down. And ably represented by the fabulous Mr. Ryan Headley from our Dixon office, who is also the stakeholder for any deposit money. So, Ryan, take us back to this beautiful little place in Collector.
Thanks, Tim. After that, well, what's really left to say, Tim? You've kind of said it all. But no, we are out in Collector today. It's a fantastic spot, which from my office is about 34 minutes out there, and it's pretty much the same to the city as well. So when you're looking at properties out in McGregor or Banks or a little bit further outside of the city, you can take the time, head out to Collector, and what you'll find is just under 1,700 square metres of land and a positively gorgeous property. It's a little bit over 210 square metres of living. It's 4 bedrooms, but has multiple living areas, dining areas, and rumpus rooms as well. The owners had 5 kids and they were quite active in the neighbourhood, so they wanted to have space for friends and family to come over. So each room, whether it be the bedroom, the living room, the butler's pantry, everything has been designed with that space in mind, and there's plenty of room to move. look, I really hope that we get this one away, and I'll hand it back over to you, Tim. Thank you.
Thanks, Ryan. It is beautiful, and you know, this going back to 1999, isn't it? I mean, it's pretty incredible to think the value you can achieve just to be a touch out of town in such a lovely location as well. So, ladies and gentlemen, who'd like to start us away? Opening bid or offer? Don't be shy, sir. I see you there. You can't hide behind that little brochure. Where do we go? I know, Ryan, you do have interest in this one, and I know there is interest directly after the auction also, but of course, make no mistake, bidding here tonight under these terms helps you to secure a property to the exclusion of the rest of the market at large. You know, quite often people will hold back for whatever reason and think, well, if nobody else is there, I'm not going to put my hand up in the air, but you can outsmart yourself without question and end up losing the property that you really wanted to get. So make your interest known. Yeah, just making sure. No, okay. I was hopeful for one moment there. Ryan, we'll go around the room once, see what we can make happen. First, second, third, ladies and gentlemen. Ryan, I'm going to hand it back to you, and I'm going to give you a round of applause. I know you will have, I know you've got someone to speak to right now. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've got interest in that one, make yourself known very, very quickly, because that will be sold probably tonight. I can almost assure you that, and you'll see that under offer and sold by tomorrow, probably not under auction terms, however, so you do have an opportunity. Folks, that takes care of my set for the evening. I'm going to hand over now to the fabulous Nick Solgar-Harding. Here he comes, man of the moment. I hope you all have a great evening. Best of luck to you. You're obviously all here to bid on the ones that I wasn't calling tonight, so hopefully you have a lot more fun than when I was up here. Nick, over to you. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you, Tim. I've got to say, fabulous is a word that is seldom used to describe me, so I'll do my best to live up to it, Tim. Now, guys, we are taking you straight back into the city, only 34 minutes or so away from Collector, as we've just found out. Just to the city fringe, Watson Street in Turner, an absolutely fantastic property. I'll read you through the contract front page just before we get underway. And that is described as Unit 9 in Units Plan 2067, Block 25, Section 38 in the Division or District of Turner, of course known to you and all of your future neighbours as 9 of 30 Watson Street. The seller solicitor is Clayton Oots, and Carol Axiotis from that firm has prepared the documentation that someone here who's lucky enough may be signing in just a few moments. The stakeholder is the LJ Hooker Canberra City Trust Account, and the seller's agent representing LJ Hooker Canberra City, you've already met her tonight, the fantastic Kayleen King. There are innumerable positive things I could say about Kayleen, but none with the kind of passion that Tim did earlier, so I'll just let his words previously speak for themselves. It is, of course, a non-land rent lease block. It's offered to you today with vacant possession. Goods are described as fixed floor coverings, light fittings and window treatments as inspected, with a 10% deposit payable at the fall of the hammer and a 30-day settlement, unless, of course, you have made other arrangements with Kayleen prior. So, Kayleen, tell us a bit more about this unit.
I'd love to, Nick, thank you. So I guess firstly, just to talk again a little bit about the location. This is another one of those locations that gives you a really easy flat walk into Braddon, into the city. There is green space across the road and a bike path right there. So if you wanted to bike ride into the city or you're going to the university, absolutely perfect. The development itself is really, really nice. It's beautifully looked after. There are only 30 units in this development, and that these days would certainly be considered a boutique development, to be one of only 30. This one is situated on the top floor, really gorgeous position, and you can see the outlook there straight into the trees. That will not be built out, folks. So when you're sitting on your terrace, that will be your view forever. So you'll get to see the bike riders riding past every so often, but other than that, really quiet and tranquil, and yeah, away from the noise of Braddon and certainly from the city. It's a generous floor plan. I love the fact that it has the study area, so it gives you the ability to be really flexible. You can set it up as a study space, as another breakout space, or put some bifold doors on that area if you have visitors on a regular basis. But It's a great spot, a terrific unit. Owners really motivated to get sold tonight, so I want to thank them very much for entrusting me with the sale. If you registered to bid, wish you all the very best of luck, and thank you, Nick.
Well, thank you, Kayleen. Thanks for bringing this one to our attention this evening, because it is a fantastic unit, folks. Describing it as a one-bedroom really doesn't do it justice, because you do have that extra space.
Absolutely.
And I don't think you can talk enough about just how rare having both the leafy outlook and being on the city fringe is.
Absolutely.
You don't get it very often. But guys, I think you know that already, and that's why you're here. So I'll open it up then to your bidding. Who wants to be the first in front then for 930 Watson Street? Don't be shy. Oof, Steve, that's a dangerous move at an auction. Of course, I don't think he's... Yes, sir.
Thanks, Nick. 290.
290,000, sir. Thank you so much. I probably can't show you there, though. I'd love to. I'm looking for something probably more around the 380 mark. Certainly up there in the higher echelon of the threes. It's what you'd expect to pay for a property like this. If you'd like to be in there, I'd love to see you there, sir. It just wouldn't be the right thing for me to do to start at something like 290. But I do appreciate you being there first in front. Who's in at 380, folks? 370 if it needs to be, something a little bit closer to that mark. I know that we've got interest here. Remember what Tim said earlier, no words have ever been truer. I think if you're in this room, you are one of the few people that can actually exchange a contract today and give the seller what they're truly looking for, which is
370.
And why not? Thank you and welcome in. At 370,000, just didn't quite catch your number though. Just my fault for being slow. Thank you. We've got a number 3 at 370,000, and we're away then. Maybe 380 from there. Get you back in now if you like, sir. At 370, we have it. 370 the bid. Do we have 370? Guys, you might have it all your own way, and good luck to you. It's a little bit below my instructions for the time being, but it will be you in the room, against all others if it does hold over in your favour. Get involved now, folks. It's worth it every day of the week for a location like this at 370,000. Otherwise, it goes into private negotiations with these brave opening bidders. Once, twice, third and final time. And Kayleen, it is a little bit below my instructions, so I'll just have a quick chat here. Now I'll tell you what, because no one else is playing with you and I feel a little bit bad, I'm going to jump in and play with you now. I'm going to use my one and only vendor bid at $378,000, just a little bit above, but this is the area that we need to be in order to secure the property tonight. Can I see you over at maybe 380, or be a bit bold even? 380? Shouldn't have given you the option, should have said 390. At 380 though, I'll put you in, and you've secured your position once again in the front at 380,000. Kayleen's just going to come and have a quick chat to you. If we can get to a point of agreement, of course, we will. We're here to sell property, and we want to see people leaving, having sold and having bought into that next stage of their life. 380 is the bid at the moment. Yes, Kayleen? Alright folks, what we are going to do is, it looks like we're probably not far off a result. We're going to hold that property over in your favour. Means you can relax a little bit and go somewhere private, have a chat with Kayleen. If you're here with an interest in that property and you're feeling a little bit anxious about this maybe being taken off the table, don't go anywhere, because if we do come to a point of agreement, we are going to bring that auction back out and we're going to sell it here under the hammer. So Kayleen, thank you and congratulations so far. Good luck to you. All right, and while we're waiting for this conversation to take place, we're going to take a little detour down to the wonderful world of Waniassa. This property is described legally as Block 4, Section 111 in the division of Waniassa, also known, of course, as 104 Wheeler Crescent. The seller solicitor is Bedford's Legal. Mark Tidwell from that firm has prepared the documentation. The stakeholder in this case is the LJ Hooker Kipax Trust account, and they have been brilliantly represented by Ms. Sarah Turnbull over here to my right. She's done a fantastic job, and I think that if you've met her over the course of the marketing, you couldn't deny that she has been helpful and professional. Restriction on transfer is nil. This is a non-land rent lease block, and today it's offered to you subject to tenancy, which has been described in the documents. Goods are fixed floor coverings, light fittings and window treatments as expected. And again, as standard, the contract calls for a 10% deposit and a 30-day settlement unless you have made other arrangements with Sarah. Take us away.
Beautiful. Lovely. So this is a lovely family home and has been a much loved family home for my sellers for many years. It has been an investment for them short term over the last couple of years with a move interstate, but you can see why it's been much loved. They've updated the kitchen. It's got a big space out the back for the kids and pets to play around. It's close to good shops, schools, parks, and only a 10-minute drive to Woden and Tuggeranong. So you can see why it is much loved and purely ready for somebody to move in and enjoy.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. And I think, you know, the property really does speak for itself. You're in a good part of town, you're in a good block of land, a good home, and something that you can always add value to and add your own stamp to down the track. No wonder why you've seen a few people through this one, Sarah. And look, I know there are people here tonight and again in this this coveted position of being one of those few that can buy a property here unconditionally against the rest of the market. Don't squander it. I'll give you that opportunity now. Put your hand in the air. Let me know what you'd pay. And if it's enough, I'll sell you the house.
$520?
520? Look, I'll start you off there. It's bold, but hey, it gets you in front first. And 520, welcome in. Would have thought 530 from there, surely. 520 now, opening bid. 530, easy decision, of course. 40 and 50 then for you, sir, if you like. 40 over and 50, 60, fantastic, and 70, your turn. No. Oh well, you haven't said that to me yet, sir. 70, give you a second there, maybe 65 if it'll keep you in though. So at 560, looks like you are well and truly in the lead. I don't fully believe that you're out yet though, so I'll give you a minute there. At 560,000 though, looking for further competition. 560 here, fantastic buying. House in Waniassa. Otherwise it's in your favour then, sir. First call at 560,000. Second call at 560. Phenomenal buying, I would say, for a property such as this one. Third and last call at 560. It's a little bit below my instructions there, sir, but you're on the right track because you are the person in front right now. Sarah's just going to have a quick chat with you. I'm going to need to talk with her a little bit further to see what I can actually do for you at this point. I'd rather the bid be left with you rather than with me. Sarah's just going to have a quick chat. Guys, I'm trying my best. I've bought you as much time as I can. You want to come back in? Yeah. Oh, that's unfortunately I get fired. It's sort of the opposite of my job. But stay with me if you can, sir. At 560, we've got it so far. Another 5. It could be the smartest $5,000 you've ever spent. It could be all the difference. Until I sell you the property, you haven't actually spent the money. Keep it in mind. These guys are in deep, thoughtful conversation. It's a big decision at the end of the day. And hey, look, while she's doing that, I will let you guys know that you've probably seen a lot of situations like this at auctions. Properties are selling, they're selling easily, they're selling quickly. They're not always selling at auction. And the people who are at auction are quite often competing with fewer and fewer people. This is largely a product of the extended approval timeframes that we're seeing with the major banks that has blown out from what used to be a few days now to several weeks. The best advice I can give you if you're finding yourself in a position similar to this is get in and talk to a good broker. Yes?
570.
Fantastic, and 570, welcome back in. At 570,000 now, don't know if that's tempted you or changed your mind at all, sir. It's just got that little bit more expensive, but 570, I will say, Sarah, I might still need to have a chat with you.
Yep.
So bear with us, folks. You're doing well, though. I think Sarah's just conveying that to the owners who couldn't be here today. They are joining us over the phone. Obviously, they do want to see a result here, the same as all of us, the same as I'm sure you do. You guys might not want it so much. But yes, do have chats with those brokers as early as possible, guys, because it used to be able to get done in a week. It's just not happening anymore, and you're seeing it with the attendance here. So when you're in these positions, when you've got your finance sorted, when you can sign on the dotted line, use that position to your advantage. What it's meaning is that people are securing these properties in, I think, an easier market that when it goes after the auction, typically these houses are selling in a couple of weeks, but most of it is done not in a public forum such as this. That's sounding like we might be closing in on a solution here, guys. If there's any further interest out there, it's not too late to register, by the way. We have sold auctions to people who weren't registered until halfway through. They sat here, they saw the value, and then they made possibly a very, very important decision for them. Never seen an agent run so fast when they're trying to put a deal together at auction. I appreciate you moving quickly. Hello? Sorry, can I just confirm that? Okay, no worries. Oh, that's a shame. I'll tell them that it's off the table. Just kidding, guys. They're telling me that I can sell you the property. All right, that's what I'm saying. Well, folks, there it is. If there's no further bid at this stage, the property is yours. Fantastic. Just confirm the increase. Yes. Yep, just see that bidder's paddle again at 580,000. Don't clap yet, guys. I haven't actually done it. At 580,000, it is about to be yours, I should say, unless someone else wants to jump in. First call, second call, third and final call. We are selling. Do we welcome you into Waniasa? Selling, and congratulations, guys. You are sold. Well done, well bought, and looks like we might have some further good news. Hey David, just confirm your decision.
Just while Nick is confirming instructions there, just for those with interest, Burke Street is now under offer, an acceptable offer. If you are here with interest on that property, please do speak with Ryan Headley. Well done, Ryan.
And folks, thankfully we get to sell another property in just a few seconds. Just confirm that we do have an increased offer for you folks at 390,000. And bidder number 3, thank you. I've just received confirmation that that figure is acceptable. So, in the absence of any further bid, we are going to sell the property now. Once, twice, third and final call. Selling, selling, and congratulations, guys. What a great note to end on. Congratulations to everyone who's bought property. Congratulations to anyone who's sold. If you're still here looking for information, or if you're still in the market, please be sure to speak to one of our agents. Otherwise, have a great trip home. Thanks.